For the past 6 decades, feminism has dominated the female social and political zeitgeist by declaring all of women's achievements, struggles, and declarations as part of the umbrella of feminism. Yet those of us who have truly studied and looked into feminism know that feminism is not a movement that uplifts and celebrates women. It is a movement that undermines women by calling us an oppressed class, rather than celebrating our raw, inner feminine power. It is a movement which habitually demonizes, belittles, and shames men and masculinity by citing all men as complicit in oppressing one half of the human population. To feminists, I say, you have had your time. You have had your time to push a narrative that declares all those who dare speak against you as sexist and misogynists. Feminism works by shaming and demonizing any woman who chooses to stand up to feminism. Women like Phyllis Schlafly, Erin Pizzey, Margaret Thatcher, Suzanne Venker, Christina Hoff Sommers, Camille Paglia, Bridget Bardot, Georgia Maloney, and many others, all women who choose or chose to critique some or all aspects of post-1960s Anglophonic feminism, all shamed, mocked, and ridiculed by the feminists for daring to be pro-women without being pro-feminism. In attempting to speak on behalf of all women, feminists have made one mistake. Any ideology that claims itself to be the purveyor of absolute truth is bound to have those who will go up against it in the name of true freedom. I believe in equality. True gender equality that celebrates and uplifts both men and women to help us both maximize our full potential. Across the world, men and women alike are suffering from mass social injustices. Poverty, war, unfair judicial treatment, abuse, negligence, and lack of education. Yet feminism, despite claiming to fight for gender equality, has completely ignored and undermined any struggles faced by men. Paternity fraud, domestic violence, underperforming in education, harsh and unfair judicial sentences, and men's mental health struggles, including depression and suicide. The majority of feminists write off men's struggles as non-existent because feminism is built on insisting that men are a privileged class and women are an oppressed class. This idea of men and women being two separate classes comes from neo-Marxism, and both Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem, the founding mothers of Western feminism, held strong links with the American radical left. Since day one, feminism has been about power for a small group of white, upper middle class, far left-wing female Anglophonic intellectuals. They wish to reshape society through a far left cultural Marxist lens by turning the sexes against each other and calling for the eradication of gender completely, which we are now seeing today in how thousands of confused young boys and girls now believe that gender is a social construct, that they can pick and choose their gender and take potentially harmful puberty blockers if they are struggling with their gender identity. Up until now, the feminists have succeeded in pushing their far-left propaganda message upon the entirety of society. Yet they have forgotten the majority of people do not hold their views. Most people across the political spectrum, from moderate economic socialists to social democrats to those slightly right of centre, are not feminists. For feminism has been directly responsible for creating a rift between the sexes, and in tearing us apart has begun to tear society apart. Some may say that feminism was part of the sexual revolution of the 1960s, yet I propose that feminism, when pushed to its logical extreme, is against heterosexual sex. I propose that the goal of feminism is not to encourage women to copulate with men, it is to discourage women from copulating with men by pushing men to go against their masculinity, the very thing that makes women attracted to men in the first place. When men reject their raw masculine energy and women reject our raw feminine energy, the sexes are no longer attracted to one another and thus become adversarial instead of complementary. Coupled with the insistence that we live in a rape culture, that a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle, and that all men exercise power and dominance over women to oppress women, which is ludicrously untrue, and we are slowly leaning towards a world where men and women despise one another. This has always been the goal of feminism, to turn women against men, which unknowingly shall lead to the destruction of the human race. And while this may all sound dramatic, if you look around at the way the world is now, you shall see that I am not all that far off. Until we truly realize that feminism is not a movement for gender equality, it is a movement that seeks to destroy gender roles which are a biological function that lead people to reproduce, not some oppressive social construct designed to keep women in the kitchen, then we shall not be free. I propose women to cast off the shackles of feminism and instead turn inwards and find your true power. Whatever your goal is in life, whether to be a housewife, a CEO, a sex worker, a doctor, an author, and the like, I believe that no woman needs feminism. I am a women's advocate, not a feminist, because I believe in true female empowerment, and I do not believe that women are oppressed by a patriarchy. Right now, one of the worst crimes affecting women across the world in the largest numbers is female genital mutilation. The Western feminist movement has not attempted to unify a global solution to end FGM, a practice which disproportionately affects women of colour. This is because feminism is a political ideology, and while I don't doubt that there are individual feminists who do advocate for women's rights, including the ending of FGM, as long as they continue to do so in the name of feminism, women will be led to associate any women's fight for human rights with feminism. I am equally a men's advocate, something which feminism does not support, but feminism has never once supported men's issues. Feminism wishes to stamp out violence against women and girls, which I agree with, yet says nothing on violence against men and boys. It says nothing against the men who are raped by other men in prison. Instead, it sneers at this, for if men are doing this to one another, then why should the feminists care? Oh, poor men, they sneer. Misandry is at the heart of feminism, and it has been ever since Friedan declared marriage a comfortable concentration camp. Enough is enough. No longer should men and women be forced to declare any gender progress in the name of feminism. I am 25 years old and I have self-published 20 books. I have recovered from alcoholism. I have endured panic attacks for 7 years, triggered by a man who took advantage of me sexually and treated me appallingly. But his treatment of me is not a reflection on the great number of positive experiences that I have had with men. Two of the most important people in my life have always been men, my father and my brother. How can I possibly support a movement which cites that the men whom I love are complicit in the systemic oppression of women? Whatever your political denomination, be you a liberal, a socialist, a libertarian, a conservative, or even apolitical, I ask that if you have ever felt uneasy by feminism or wondered if feminism is really the gender egalitarian movement it claims to be, then you are not alone. We must stand together if we wish to create a world where men and women can work together to bring out the best in each other. Feminists do not speak for all women, and in attempting to do so, they have silenced and demeaned any woman who chooses to go against their movement. If you care about true gender equality, I ask you to stand with me. If you believe that women are inherently strong, powerful, resilient beings, not oppressed victims, I ask you to stand with me. If you support the rights and struggles of men and view men as just as much victims of injustice as women are, I ask you to stand with me. If you view women and men as complementary partners who should work together side by side rather than being torn apart, I ask you to stand with me. If you have ever been shamed, mocked, laughed at, cancelled, or ridiculed by feminists for daring to speak up against their religion, then I ask you to stand with me. I say to women, let us return to true pre-1960s women's advocacy. The suffragettes, Mary Wollstonecraft, and other amazing women all campaigned for women's rights and suffrage, yet this was on the basis of achieving true gender equality and rights for women, not on the basis of demonizing and emasculating men and declaring that we live in some oppressive, male-dominated patriarchy. Feminists have soiled the good name of the suffragettes and any women's advocates by casting us under the umbrella of feminism. Yet no more. Myself and a wonderful supporter of my YouTube content have created the subreddit Women's Advocates. We wish to advocate for women's struggles without it being in the name of feminism. I also have a Discord group called Liberals Against Feminism for those who hold actual liberal views and despise how true liberalism has been overshadowed by contemporary wokeism, of which feminism has played a massive role. Dear feminists, your time is up, for the future is not feminist, the future is egalitarian. My name is Zarina Matcha. Thank you for watching.